Now it's time to create a new activity, and this new activity will be called user list activity. And in the next few videos we will use that activity to show a recycler view of users, and then you can select a user to send a notification to. But for now, let's create it and then navigate the registered users, or if the user logs in, to that activity directly. Okay, let's go ahead to the package, right click on the package name, choose new, and go to activity, and from the available templates choose empty activity. I'm gonna name it user list activity and click finish, and this will create a new activity for us. And for now, of course, it's an empty activity. We will not design anything today. So now we want, when the user successfully logs in or successfully registered, we want the user to be navigated directly to this screen. So let's go to the login activity, and if we scroll down, after the task is successful and when this toast is shown, we know that the user has successfully logged in. So we can, using the start activity method, to pass an intent, and this intent, this is a start activity, sorry, a typo, and this intent will take a context and of course a destination, and we are going to the users list activity column class.java. And once we take the user to that activity, we don't want the user to be able to go back to the previous screen by, for example, using the back arrow. For example, if this is a users list activity, we don't want the user to hit back and go to the login activity or the registered activity. So to be able to do that, we can simply call finish affinity, and this will close all previous stacked activities, because when you navigate from one activity to another, the previous activity will be added to a stack, and when we call this method, we will simply close all others screen, and if the user hit back arrow or return, the app will close. So now when the user logs in, it will be moved to the user's list activity. But we also want to do the same functionality inside the register activity. So in the store user data, after register success toast, we can do the same thing. Move the user to the user list activity, and then close other previous screens. Let's run the application and see the result. We should be able, when log in or register, to be able to navigate it to a new screen. So now we are in the login screen, and let's go to and let's log in using a valid email and password, and of course a user is already registered with this email and password, and this should be moved. As you can see, now we are landed on the users list activity. So let's go ahead and change the label for this by going to the manifest file, finding the activity tag, closing the tag for now to simplify it, and then specifying the label to be user list. So now we have the users list activity. But of course, when we run the application, as you can see, let me just see the result. We are now in the login, so every time we need to log in again, and this process can be very boring to the users, and we don't really want to do that. We want, if the user is logged in or registered, we want to move them directly to the users list activity instead of logging in over and over again. So we can easily do that, since the login activity is the main activity or the launcher activity. As you can tell from here, if you take a look at the intent filters, we have the action main and we have the launcher category. So now we know that this login activity will always start the application, will be always the first screen to be shown to the user. So inside the login activity here, We can override the function just before on create. It's called on start, and of course this is one of the activity life cycles methods, and it will be called of course before even the layout or the XML design shown to the user. So before the user ever sees any element in the screen, this method will be called, and it's a proper place when we can check to see using Firebase authentication get instance dot current user. Oops, here current user, and we can check if the current user is not null. If the current user is not null, that means we have an already logged in users. So we can take this same code and paste it up here. So we'll move them directly to the users list activity, so he don't need to log in again or something of a kind. And we can call finish for now. Why finish? Because it's just a single activity. Finish kills the current activity, which is a login activity, unlike finish affinity that will kill all other activities. If you have 10 activities that are in the back stack, it will be removed all from the stack, but finish only kills a single activity. If we run the application again, we should be directed to the users list activity directly without needing to log in. As you can see, we are now in the users list activity, but we need a way to log out, and we can achieve this by creating an option menu, and that's very easy. Go to the resources, right click new, and choose Android resource file, and from the resource type make sure the menu is selected, give it a name. I'm going to call it user list underscore menu, and this will create a menu file for us. As you can see, this is a preview, and of course you can go to the design. From the palette over here, I can take a menu item, drag it and drop it inside the layout. Let's get back to a split because it is more easy. So we have the item, and the item title should be logout, as you can see, and of course we need to give it an ID. So when the user clicks, we can perform some action or execute a portion of the code. So the ID will be logout underscore item, and of course we don't want the three dots right here. We want this option to be always shown in the toolbar, and that is very easy. You can do that by implementing the show as action and make sure it's set to always. So now we have the logout item and we have the users list item, user list menu. Let's go to users list activity. We need to override two functions, a function to create the menu and a function to handle the selection or the clicks of the menu items, because you can have multiple items. So now let's override on create option menu and in this function we will simply inflate the menu by using the menu inflator and calling the inflate method, and then specifying the menu file and passing the menu parameters that we have right here and return true. So now the option menu is created. Let's handle selection by calling on option item selected, and as you can see we have an item or the selected item as a parameter, and we can simply check if item dot item ID equal the ID of the logout item, and if that's true we need to log out the users, and that is very easy. We can use the Firebase authentication and call the sign out method. So now the users is signed out. So let's navigate it back to the login screen, and we can do that using start activity and passing in an intent, and we will navigate the user to the login activity class.java, and we also need to close this current screen by calling finish. Last but not least, we need to return true, and true, that means we handle the selection, and now everything is good. So let's go back and run the application and see the result, and we should be able to see an option menu right here, and when we click it we will sign out the user, and of course then we will be navigated to the login activity. So as you can see, we successfully sign out, and of course if I run the application again we will be directed to the login again. So now the users can log in and log out, and if he's already logged in he will be directed to the users list activity that we will implement in the next few videos. If you like the video, hit like and subscribe, turn on the notification so you don't miss any video. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.